to attend that.
Yes, yes, that was.
Then he is kind enough to remember us, make some time to come here. So he will be here today, and this talk will be our heritage. That is the topic. But to let you know that he will be here for a few days. At the end, I will again tell you what are the next programs and where he is speaking. Welcome, Swami.
Thank you, Swamiji. Om yo brahmanam vidadhati purvam yo vai vedangsha prahinoti tasmai tam hadevam atmabuddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapadye. We who seek liberation take refuge in that infinite light which illuminates the hearts of all, which is the source of the Creator himself, and which is the repository of infinite knowledge. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So first, my thanks, deep thanks to Swami Sarvadevanandaji. As he said, I was invited by the San Francisco Center to speak at their Memorial Day retreat, an annual retreat that they have, along with several other Swamis that were invited as well. But as I told Swami Sarvadevanandaji from France before I came on this trip, that I wanted to come to Southern California, especially to see him. Because I have known him and respected him for many years, a very loving Swami and a very fine Swami. And so, and to see old friends also here in Hollywood and in other centers. Swamiji said, I spent 13 years in San Diego and a number of years in Trabuco, and years in Ridgely Manor, where I was associated with the Hollywood Center also. So many years associated with the Vedanta Society of Southern California. So it's home territory for me. And so I'm very delighted to come. As the Swami said, the topic for this evening is our heritage. The next time I speak here, it will be on the future of our work, the work before us, taking a title from one of Swami Vivekananda's lectures in India. But today it is, or this evening, it is our heritage, because it's on the shoulders of our heritage that we stand, that all that we build now is on the shoulders of that. And it is through respect, knowledge of and respect for that which has preceded us that the future can be built. That we all are built on the past. There's the idea in developmental biology that the embryo, or the human embryo, goes through all of the stages of evolution from single cell up to a human being, the different stages of the heart, the nervous system, the etc. We go through all of the stages of evolution. And then from the time we're born, we go through enculturation, where we become okay, yeah, that's not necessary. I have nothing to read, so thank you. So we go through the stages of enculturation. That is, we learn that which has gone before us so that we can move into the future. So our heritage is extremely important in everyday life, even in evolutionary life, biological life, and certainly in cultural life. Swami Vivekananda used to say that he was not in favor of revolution. He was in favor of evolution. That is, a revolution, as it is generally understood, means breaking with the past and building something new. That's very exciting, especially to the Western mind. Yeah, let's get out there and destroy the old and build something new. But revolution is extremely destructive. And now I live in France, a country that I love, a culture that I love, a people that I love, and a language that I love. But the French Revolution was very different from the American Revolution. The American Revolution was not a revolution at all. It was just that the people of the country had come to the point in America where they said, we don't need you anymore. We're doing fine. You're only causing problems, so goodbye. So it wasn't a revolution. It wasn't destroying anything. There were ideas that were developed, that were instituted as they developed the new form of government, but that also was built on hundreds and hundreds of years of the development of these ideas. So it was in no sense a revolution. The French Revolution was a revolution, the killing of the king, the destroying of churches, the destroying of a great deal, much as the Chinese Revolution was a real revolution with the attempt to destroy the old. In the French Revolution, they actually were about to destroy Notre Dame, the grand cathedral in Paris, a beautiful cathedral. Even when I was an agnostic teenager, when I went to Notre Dame de Paris as a 17-year-old, I was so inspired. I didn't believe in God at that time, but I went into the cathedral and realized, no, there is something here. There's something which is intangible, but there's something here. That was going to be destroyed because in the enthusiasm of the revolution, they thought, well, everything Gothic is the old superstitious past. Let's get rid of it. It was Victor Hugo's book, which in English is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but in French is just Notre Dame. It's just the name of the cathedral. That awakened the French people to their heritage, and that's the only reason why the cathedral was preserved. They were ready to tear it down. And so our heritage is extremely important, and that is what I will speak about now. As you can see, I didn't come with prepared remarks. I thought about preparing something today, but then I never sat down and did it. So but it's not really necessary. If things are prepared, then I can give a more structured development, which is helpful to understanding. But this will be unstructured, but basically what I would have said anyway, most probably. Our heritage. Our heritage begins here, Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is at the center of our heritage. He's the repository of our heritage. Of course, our heritage goes beyond just Sri Ramakrishna, because through Sri Ramakrishna, and through the tradition which stems from Sri Ramakrishna, we are also inheritors of the Vedanta tradition. And through the Vedanta tradition, our heritage is also the Hindu tradition. Vedanta being really the philosophical foundation of Hinduism as we have come to know it today. There used to be competing philosophies, but Vedanta has really succeeded in absorbing the other philosophies of India into itself. And so our heritage is Sri Ramakrishna, through Sri Ramakrishna, the Vedanta and the Hindu tradition, but also Sri Ramakrishna because of his universality, because he practiced different religions. The religions of the world are part of our heritage as well. And by that, I know that in modern times in the West, there's the danger of, people will point out the danger of cultural appropriation, cultural appropriation. Yes, there is such a thing as cultural appropriation, but that's not what I'm talking about. Through Sri Ramakrishna, we have the ability to see the beauty of different religions, and their wealth becomes ours as well. Not in the sense that now it's ours and not yours. Now Christianity belongs to us and not to the Christians. No, not in that sense. Or Native American wisdom belongs to us now, and so the Native Americans can forget about it because it's ours now. No, not in that sense. But in the sense that the wisdom of the world is open to us. Swami Vivekananda said, and I'll come back to Sri Ramakrishna because there's much more to say about our heritage there. But Swami Vivekananda said, and of course Vivekananda's teachings were based on what he had learned and imbibed from Sri Ramakrishna. He said, always remember that man does not travel from falsehood to truth, from error to truth, but from truth to truth. From lower truth, if you will, to higher truth, but never from error to truth. That's a wonderful statement, and it's The first time he says it publicly is in his address at the Parliament of Religions. So that was at the beginning of his world mission, he said that. And he continued to state it from time to time throughout his mission. That we don't travel from error to truth, but from truth to truth. What does that mean? That means that we all experience the same thing, but how differently? How differently? I see the world very differently from someone like Sigmund Freud. I see the world very differently from people of other persuasions and so forth. And yet, we're all looking at the same thing. And so everyone is seeing the same thing and trying to explain it. And so we're all traveling from truth to truth, an experience. I may not be a Freudian, but Freud was looking with a very intelligent and analytical mind, looking at this, and looking at people, looking at the human mind, and giving an explanation of it from his standpoint. And so it is a truth, and we can learn a great deal from it. Even if we're not Freudians, we can learn a great deal from Freud, because he had an intelligent mind looking and experiencing something and explaining what he was seeing. I may not be a Marxist, but I can learn a great deal from Marx, because he was a very intelligent, informed mind who was analyzing the economic system of his time and seeing the contradictions within it. So he was presenting a truth. It may not be the highest truth, but it is a truth. And so we can learn from everyone. The alcoholic on Skid Row lying on the street also has something to teach me. Everyone has something to teach. And so through Sri Ramakrishna, the wisdom of the world is ours. Again, not in the sense of now it's ours and not yours, we've taken it away. No, in the sense that we can be open to the truth wherever it is expressed. And all of the expressions, all of the levels of truth become ours through the vision of Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna is a person, he was a person. But I said he was a person. But Sri Ramakrishna is a person. As I like to say, and I've said it here before many years ago, Sri Ramakrishna's picture is not there as a memorial. Oh, there was this great man who lived from 1836 to 1886. He was a great spiritual man. And so in memoriam of him, we keep his photograph and we worship it as we might keep a picture of Mahatma Gandhi or George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or some other great person. No, we keep his picture because he is. Because he is. The personhood of Sri Ramakrishna is. Not a little person like Swami Atmarupananda, a little person with a little ego and little foibles and all of that, but an illumined person, a person of infinite extent, infinite understanding, infinite heart, infinite love, infinite wisdom, who can see into the hearts of all, who resides in the hearts of all. He's seated right here. He's seated here now. He lives here. Again, not in the sense, as I said, about cultural appropriation, also not in the sense that, where is Sri Ramakrishna now? Oh, he lives in Hollywood. He lives on 1946 Vedanta Place, inside the temple. There's a little picture there where he lives. No, not in that sense. Sri Ramakrishna is, and this is a center where his presence is cultivated. He's everywhere. He's all pervasive. But here his presence is cultivated. And that's why we have centers, because he is our heritage, he is our wealth, he is our all in all. As some of you know, the famous, very oft repeated Hindu couplet, verse, Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhus cha sakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Thou art my mother, thou art my father, thou art my only friend and companion. Thou art my wealth and my only knowledge, O God of gods. And that is Sri Ramakrishna to us. Not in a narrow sense, that have you found your personal savior in Sri Ramakrishna? But in the sense that, well, in answer to that, I would say, yes, I have, but not something that I present to others, that you have to find your personal savior in Sri Ramakrishna. No, for me, he is everything. But again, not in a narrow sense, not in the sense that everyone else should accept Sri Ramakrishna as their personal savior. But he is our mother, he is our father for those who have come to Sri Ramakrishna. He is our only wealth and our only knowledge, our only friend and companion. When we come to feel that, then we come to feel that yes, he is the repository of all of our wealth and all of our knowledge. He is infinite knowledge. Swami Vivekananda always broke down limitations people would put around Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is this, or he is that, or he was this, or he was that. No, he would destroy all such limitations, even among his beloved brother disciples. When any of them tried to limit Sri Ramakrishna to one idea or another, he would blast it. And nobody could blast something like Swami Vivekananda. If he blasted, he really blasted it to smithereens. And so he has done that for all of us, for now and for the future as well. He always said, whatever you have understood of Sri Ramakrishna, whatever Sri Ramakrishna taught you, that's good for you. But never think that that is Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is the repository of infinite ideas, infinite ideas. And when he spoke, Swami Vivekananda spoke of Belar Mutt. He said, this is a place where Sri Ramakrishna will continue to live in his subtle body until his next incarnation. And from here, this place at Belar Mutt, he said, infinite ideas will and ideals will spread out and cover the world as a blessing to the world. And so Sri Ramakrishna is not our repository in any narrow sense, nor is he a repository that we own. Again, I keep coming back to this idea of appropriation. It's not that that we control Sri Ramakrishna and we dole out little bits to the people. If you want a little bit of Sri Ramakrishna, you have to go to the Vedanta Society, and we'll give you a little bit for now, just a teaser. And if you come back and you pay your dues and everything, we'll give you a little bit more. No, he's an infinite repository who is open to all at all times, who dwells in the hearts of all. And so he is our main heritage. But again, as I said, he was a person, he is a person, his illuminated personality continues. That is, he continues as identified with the personal God, as Jesus did, as Buddha did, as Krishna did. One of the features of an incarnation is that they become identified with the cosmic mind, with the divine mind, and their illumined personality. Again, not the little egocentric, limited personality that is ours, but an illumined, infinite personality remains identified with the cosmic mind and can be approached. The cosmic mind now can be approached not just as Jesus or Krishna or Buddha, but it is known also as Ramakrishna. The name Ramakrishna has become identified with God. The form of Sri Ramakrishna that we see in the photographs is identified with God. That's why if you meditate on the form of Sri Ramakrishna, you can feel that you are realizing God through that form because it's identified with the mind of God. The name of Ramakrishna confers infinite blessings because it's identified with the mind of God. There was a Greek American who went in the 1950s. He wrote a beautiful book, which I don't know the name of, and I've wanted to know the name of it, but I read it 50 years ago, and more than 50 years ago, and don't remember now. He went to Mount Athos, the peninsula on the Greek peninsula, which is reserved only for monks, and it's there are about 40 different monasteries and then hermitages and so forth there, and caves where monks live. And so he went to visit Mount Athos as a Greek Orthodox, and there he said that he met a monk, a Russian monk who had come there before the Russian Revolution in 1917 and had lived there all of his adult life. By this time he was over 90. And the Russian monk said that here in our monastery we teach through the realization of our elders that the name of Jesus is Jesus himself. That's not something that you come to through rational thought. all men are mortal. Socrates was a man, therefore Socrates was mortal. No, that's a syllogism of logic. You don't come to a realization that the name of Jesus, the Word, is Jesus himself, is the divine incarnation Jesus himself. But they realized it through meditation and through repeating the name of Jesus. And so the name of Ramakrishna also is the divine being itself, the name itself. That's why we receive mantras, because they are the divine being itself. We repeat it because we're trying to realize that within the mantra is the divine being itself. It carries the divine being. It manifests the divine being. So Ramakrishna the name and Ramakrishna the form. So Ramakrishna the person is still there, his illumined personality. What does personality mean? It means responsive consciousness. It means a consciousness which can respond to my consciousness. That is, which can understand and communicate with my consciousness. Brahman is beyond personality. Brahman, the infinite. There's no personality there. That's why we don't have temples to Brahman. Why we don't offer worship to Brahman. Because in Brahman, there's no world, there's no person, there's no relationship. There's only infinite truth. Infinite, inexplicable truth. But nothing else, no concept, no relationship. So, and there's no world there. So who is going to pray to whom? But personality means that same infinite consciousness in relationship. That's what God is in Vedanta. That infinite consciousness which can respond to my consciousness. I can pray to, I can worship, and it responds to me. As we respond to each other here. And so Sri Ramakrishna is identified with the personal God. He has become God as person. Again, not exclusively. He didn't get up there and then push Jesus and Krishna and Rama out of the way, said, it's my turn now. No, but his illumined personality is that which they are also. But with all that we think of as Sri Ramakrishna, the person, the man who lived. So he was a human being who lived and walked and talked and interacted with people. You could have asked him, where were you born? And he would have said, Kamarpukur, and so forth, like an ordinary person. But he was anything but ordinary. So he was a human being. And we have his teachings, his life, his beautiful life, his experiences that he told his disciples about, which are recorded. But also, he is that which is beyond just the human incarnation, because that reality which manifested in the life of Sri Ramakrishna is also identified with the personal God, the same being, but he had the personal aspect as an incarnation, the aspect as the personal God, and he also is the infinite Brahman. There's a beautiful meditation verse which we use in the daily puja, written by Swami Abhedananda. The first verse describes Sri Ramakrishna as Brahman, as the infinite reality itself, beyond all concept. The second verse describes him as the personal God, and the third verse describes him as an incarnation. It begins, Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpam Sarasara Kila Bhedatitam Ekaswarupam, and continues like that. A very beautiful verse. So that is Sri Ramakrishna. And again, there was nothing narrow, limited, provincial about him. He was one of infinite realization, of infinite understanding. And as Swami Vivekananda said, he was the first great world teacher who had the courage to speak to each person in their own language. That doesn't mean that he spoke to people in Swahili or Chinese or Japanese or etc. It means that he could speak to the mind of each one, according to the mind and nature of each one. He didn't impose a particular idea that, oh, if you come to me, then you've got to do it this way. No, he didn't do that. He could see the nature of each, and he could speak according to their nature and show them the path which was their path. Each one of us, as Swami Vivekananda said, well, let me start that phrase over and say Swami Vivekananda once said, there's nothing wrong with sects. It's only sectarianism. But I believe that sects should go on multiplying until each person is a sect unto themselves. What does that mean? That means that each of us has our own path, because each of us sees the world from a different perspective. As I said about Freud and Marx and others, each of us sees the world slightly differently. Each of us has different predilections, different talents, different things that are meaningful to us. For some people, philosophy is very meaning. There are other people that if one starts speaking about philosophy, they run out the door. And so there are people of all types of different temperaments. And so Sri Ramakrishna was the first great teacher, Swami Vivekananda said, who had the courage to speak to each in their own language, that is, in the language of their own personhood, their own perspective, what their particular path was. So that is the center of our heritage, Sri Ramakrishna, his power, the power that he manifested, and the power that he transmitted to his disciples to be carried on. You know, to become a Buddhist is very easy. If you want to be a Buddhist, you pronounce Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. I take refuge in the Buddha, the illumined one. I take refuge in his Dharma, that is in his teachings. And I take refuge in his Sangha, that is his community, a monastic community. So Sri Ramakrishna also exists in those three forms as the Navabuddham Sharanam Gacchami. I take refuge in the new illumined one, that is Sri Ramakrishna, and in his Dharma, that is in the teachings which he has left. And as I said, his teachings are expansive. Swami Vivekananda said in his rules for the order, which are not published, they're only passed among the monastic members, those who have taken at least their first vows. But there, Swamiji says that in the future, any new aspect of truth or ideal or practice which is discovered and which is found to be beneficial to all, that can be accepted as Sri Ramakrishna's own. That is, it can be accepted as part of his tradition. How different from our general concept of religions, where they jealously guard what was taught, but they keep out anything new from that. You see it in the religions today, the tremendous movement towards conservatism in the world's religions, where they're trying to go back to their original core and keep everything else out. But no, Swamiji said that Sri Ramakrishna was the embodiment of infinite ideas, and any new ideal practice or concept which is found beneficial, spiritually beneficial to all, can be accepted as part of his own heritage, his own tradition. And so, again, his Dharma is expansive, that which allows us to find truth everywhere. And then there is his Sangha. And by the Sangha, we shouldn't define it in a narrow sense, as some of the Buddhists did. Not all did, but some of them did. The Sangha was just the monastic order. And so I take refuge in the monastic order. No, the Ramakrishna Sangha is inclusive. It's not. It certainly contains the monks who have and nuns who have dedicated themselves to Sri Ramakrishna, but it contains also all of his devotees, all of those who have dedicated themselves to the ideals of Sri Ramakrishna. That is the Sangha, an expansive Sangha, which is inclusive and not exclusive. And so there we find, first of all, at the center of his Sangha, besides Sri Ramakrishna, we find Sri Sarada Devi, the Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda. So let me come first to Swami Vivekananda, because he is certainly part of our heritage as well. Swami Vivekananda was an extraordinary person. And one of the many extraordinary features about him was that he had an unusual capacity to see a principle in the principle supporting some phenomenon. For instance, when Sri Ramakrishna, once in a state of ecstasy, said compassion towards all beings, and then he stopped and then went into a state of ecstasy, and then said, still in that state of ecstasy, compassion, who are you? What to speak of compassion for others? Not compassion, but worship of Shiva in the Jiva. There were a number of people there present when this happened. There's some other devotees sitting in the room, Sri Ramakrishna's room at Dakshineshwar, when he said that. And others just thought, well, that's a nice idea. That's a nice idea. Yeah, worship of Shiva and the Jiva and all of that. But Swami Vivekananda immediately saw the depth of what Sri Ramakrishna said, that this was a whole new concept. And it's out of that Swami Vivekananda developed many of his teachings and the Ramakrishna mission. It was developed out of that one idea, because he saw in that it wasn't just a nice statement, something to put in a Hallmark card or something like that, some beautiful sentiment that, that sounds good, and then to be forgotten. No, he saw in that a principle which would be the principle on which the new civilization would be built. Seeing God in everyone, seeing God in everything, worshiping God in everyone and in everything. He saw it as a life-giving principle. So Swami Vivekananda had that ability to see in what others thought to be a simple statement or a simple action or something, he saw the principle behind it. And that you see in every aspect of Swami Vivekananda's thought. He said when he was still Narendra, before he became Vivekananda, when he was still with Sri Ramakrishna, he told other disciples of Ramakrishna, the householder and future monastic disciples, he said that any one of the master's teachings can be developed and volumes can be written on it. And so some of the skeptics among the disciples, and I don't say that critically, because others just said, well, Swamiji said it, so it must be true, but not understanding what Swamiji meant. But those who were skeptics, more analytical, they challenged Swamiji and said, well, what do you mean? I don't see the profundity of that. And Swamiji said, Naren said, take any one of his teachings. And so somebody said, what about this one? I forget which it was. What's that? Mahut Narayan, yes. I won't tell the story about the Mahut Narayan, the elephant driver, but it's a simple story. But so Swami Vivekananda started expounding on the inner significance of that story. To others, it was just a nice story. That means that the essence of it was that God speaks to you in many ways, and so don't ignore God's messages to you in one way, because you're only focused on some other thing that you think is God. It was a simple instruction, simple story. But Swamiji went on for 2 days expounding on the inner significance of this story. And even then he wasn't finished, but others were finished listening. But Swamiji had that capacity. He saw that the Upanishads were a religion of principles, not a religion of personality, not a religion of sectarian ideas or narrow ideas, not theology, but principles. And by principles, I mean truths that are objectively true. The laws of physics, we call them laws. That's really a misnomer, but I'll use the term because it's known and convenient. The laws of physics, gravitation. Newton discovered the principle of gravitation and the mathematical relationship between bodies with mass, which is gravitation. But gravitation is not English. It's not new. It wasn't copyrighted or patented by Newton. The rest of us can use gravity as well, not just Newton and the people who have paid for his patent on gravitation, because it's a principle. It's the way the universe functions. It's the way it's a truth about the nature of things. And so Swami Vivekananda saw that the religion of the Upanishads, the philosophy of the Upanishads, was like that. It was like science. It was the discovery of the principles which govern truth itself, which don't govern truth, there's no governing truth, which govern the universe and the spiritual path, and which reveal the truths of spiritual life. There was a religion of principles, and therefore Vedanta has two aspects. One aspect is that it is a path that one can follow. A person like me and some of you here are people who have said, Vedanta is my path. I'm a Vedantin. And so in that sense, it's a path, it's a religion. But it's more than that. Being a system that is interested in the principles of existence itself, it underlies, its interest is in what is in truth itself, and the principles that express that truth. It's not interested in a particular theology or a particular revelation or whatever. And so as such, Vedanta has another aspect, not disharmonious with the first, and that is an aspect as the foundation of spirituality itself, the foundation of spirituality. Many of us found through the study of Vedanta that we understood for the first time the religion we had been born in, a different religion we had been born in. Through the principles of Vedanta, we suddenly understood spirituality. We understood the teachings of Christ, the teachings of the Jewish mystics, the Sufi mystics, the Buddha and the Buddhist sages, because we had a system of principles which are based on universal experience, which can be replicated in our own experience with sufficient practice, and which are the structure of the universe itself. When you read someone like the teachings of Saint Teresa of Avila, a great Roman Catholic saint, she speaks about the stages of prayer. There also, a Vedantin can, or a person of any religion, can read her stages of prayer and see that, this is true. She was a Christian. She had practiced Christianity. She had not practiced other religions. She hadn't studied other religions. She'd only heard of Protestantism, which was new in her time. So she didn't have anything to compare. But her stages of prayer are based on the nature of the human mind, and therefore they're universal because they're based on principles. These are the stages of the development of prayer because the principles she teaches are based on the nature of the human mind, and the human mind is common among all people. And so again, it's based on principle. So Vedanta is like that. The teachings of Vedanta are not imagination, they're not cultural heritage or whatever. They are principles which illuminate the nature of the universe, the nature of the self, the nature of consciousness, the nature of existence, the nature of reality. So the Swami Vivekananda had that ability to see the principles within the teachings. And so he used to say that, or he said on occasion, like in a letter to Mary Hale, if you look at my teachings, you will find that all that I have ever taught is the Upanishads. Because, again, he found that to be a religion of principles. So, the Swami Vivekananda illuminated the life and the meaning of Sri Ramakrishna's life, the meaning of Sri Ramakrishna's life, the meaning of his teachings. When I was, during my first 10 years or so as a monk of the order, or at least the first 8 or 9 years of my life in the order, I used to see a great difference between Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. And at the time, I respected Sri Ramakrishna a great deal, but I preferred Swami Vivekananda, and I saw his teachings as quite different, quite distinct. And as the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna had felt, they had felt that Swamiji is teaching something which we never heard from the Master. This is not the Master's teaching. There were some of the monastic and lay disciples who for years disagreed with what Swamiji said. But later they came to understand that no, what he is teaching is the essence of Sri Ramakrishna himself. And that's what I came came to understand that now when I read the two, I don't see any difference. Now it's a mystery to me. Of course, I can imagine, I can reconstruct it, but in a way, it's a mystery to me how it was that I saw these two as so different. Yes, personality-wise, they were different. Sri Ramakrishna himself said that. Swamiji himself said that. Personality-wise, temperament-wise, they were different. But that's a good thing. Part of our heritage is you have Sri Ramakrishna, you have Swami Vivekananda, you have the Holy Mother, you have the direct disciples, and you have later saints of the order. And none of them is a replica of the other. And so you have this a beautiful diversity, which is a diversity in harmony, a diversity in unity. The one common source expressing itself in many different ways. So Swami Vivekananda, again, was in some ways quite a contrast to Sri Ramakrishna. But a contrast, not a contradiction. A beautiful contrast, which makes both Sri Ramakrishna and himself more comprehensible when we see the contrast between the two, and the harmony and the unity between the two. There were some of the followers of Sri Ramakrishna who had complained that, as I said, that Swami Vivekananda was teaching his own thing and not what Sri Ramakrishna had taught. And the Holy Mother was the one who preserved the unity of the movement by saying that, no, I see that it is Sri Ramakrishna himself who is speaking through Naren. That everything that Naren is doing, it's coming from Sri Ramakrishna himself. And that if we study them for some time and begin to go deeper into what they said, we begin to see this beautiful unity sustaining everything that they taught. And then, of course, there's the Holy Mother. The Holy Mother, one of our Swamis who used to be here in Hollywood, Swami Vandanananda, who lived here for 12 years as the assistant to Swami Prabhavananda. I never knew him here, but I knew him in India. And he once said in a talk at the training center, just before I was in India and about to join the training center, but he was giving an address at the valedictory session of the previous year's graduates. And he said that Sri Ramakrishna is the sadhya, that is, Sri Ramakrishna is the goal. Swami Vivekananda is the sadhana, that is, the practice which leads to the goal. It's a beautiful way of thinking of them. Sri Ramakrishna is the goal, Swami Vivekananda is the sadhana, that which leads us to the goal, and the Holy Mother is the adhara. Holy Mother is the repository, the support, in which the whole thing exists. The goal and the path both exist in the adhara. They're both supported by the adhara, which is the Holy Mother, who is the ocean of infinite love, the ocean of infinite love. And so, again, this is part of our heritage. These three who are three in one, as the Christians say about the Trinity. One reality with three expressions of Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, and Swami Vivekananda. My Guru told me, never think of Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna as different. They always know them to be the same person. And Swami Vivekananda, of course, is in there too. And then there are, of course, the direct disciples. So our heritage is the new Buddha, Sri Ramakrishna, his dharma, his teachings, and his sangha. And so, since the Holy Mother and Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna are really one reality expressing itself in three ways, then Swami Vivekananda and the Holy Mother as well are the new Buddha. And I remember reading many years ago, probably 52 years ago, book, Alexander Baker, I think. He was an English priest a Catholic priest, after the time of the Reformation in England. In fact, I think it was in the 18th or 19th century. He was responsible for some French Catholic nuns, though he was an English priest who had converted to Catholicism. And there was a book of his letters that I read long, long ago, more than half a century ago. And in that book, or in one of the letters, he says to a particular nun, writing to a particular nun, "You have written to me saying that you you feel bad that you love Jesus, but you don't have any feeling for his Holy Mother, Mother Mary. And you're afraid of the consequences of this absence of love and feeling for the Virgin Mary. But do you think that the Virgin Mary is so small-hearted that she's unhappy that you love her son? Don't you think that she would be delighted that you love her son? Do you think Jesus is so small-hearted also? No, if you love one of them, then that's enough. You're loving both of them through the one. And so that's true of Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda and Sarada Devi. If we love one of them, eventually we find the others there. But because of their different natures and so forth, the different temperaments, we may feel much more attracted to one. That's enough. That's enough. Go with that. Love that one. But in time, you'll find that the other two are there also. And when you find that the other two are there, it won't be, oh, no, I thought I got away from them. And now what are they doing here now? No, it won't be a disappointment. It'll be a delight that, I just misunderstood. I just misunderstood. It was just my narrow vision which saw one as attractive and the other two as not so important. No, all three are the same thing. If you approach one, you'll eventually find all three. So let me just say a little bit more and then I'll close. I'll leave time for one or two questions if there are any. So our heritage doesn't stop there, of course. Then there's the tradition which comes down from Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda. We have our centers here. We have the tradition of the Ramakrishna traditions of the Ramakrishna movement. We have, like here in Hollywood, Swami Prabhavananda, who founded this center, a great teacher to many, many people, a great inspiration to many people, continues to be a great inspiration to many people. When I came in 1982, it was 6 years after he had passed away. I came here as a Swami. I joined in Chicago years before Swami Prabhavananda passed away. I was living in India at Belar Math when he passed away. I still remember getting the news and the feast at Belar Math in celebration of his life after his passing away. But when I came here, most of the people here at that time, though Swami Swahananda was the Swami in charge, most of the people were still disciples of Swami Prabhavananda. And I saw how many people were deeply influenced by him, how many people had their lives changed by him, the whole direction of their lives changed by them. And many people who you would never expect to have become spiritual, people that you'd think, though, that this person is not at all spiritual, and yet they had come in this direction because of the influence of this man. And so like that, in our centers around the world, we have this heritage of Swamis who have come, who have sacrificed for the welfare of people in different countries, teaching these principles, giving of their experience, giving of their life. That also is part of our heritage, coming down in this center through Swami Swahananda and Swami Sarvadevananda and the other monks and nuns who have lived here, given their lives for this. That's not a small thing. That's not a small thing. Our centers around the world are built on the austerities of these great people, built on the austerities of these people, the sacrifices of these people. That's part of the richness of our heritage. And that's why our centers continue, why they continue. Even through hard times, the centers continue. There's only one center in America, really, that ever closed, and that was in Philadelphia, Swami Yatishwarananda, who was a great Swami. It didn't close because he failed. It closed because he went back to India, and there was nobody sent to replace him, and so he was told, just lock the door, sell the center, and come back. So he did. But that was the only center that ever closed in America. And there are 2 or 3 centers in the Western world that separated from the order. Even they didn't close, but they separated from the order. New centers of the order were started in their place. But we continue because our centers are built on the austerities of these people. And not just the Swamis and the nuns who have given their lives That, of course, is extremely important. But how many devotees have contributed their lives, their energy to our centers, their skills, their talents, their time? Our centers are built on the sacrifices of countless devotees, many of them nameless. Some of them we know, some of them their name is remembered, but most of them nameless. People who saw the value of the work and contributed in their way, sometimes through monies, many times through time and labor and energy, through talents and so forth. That also is a grand part of our heritage, and that should always be respected. We should always remember, before doing anything which damages the work, anything which damages our centers, we should always remember that anything that I do that hurts this work, which damages this work, is a slap in the face of the people who sacrifice so much to get this going. It's a slap in the face of people who have done so much to establish the Vedanta work, and who continue to do so. The people who come here, the people who pray here, all of that is a great heritage and a great wealth that we have. And of course I could go on naming other things. There's the literature which has been produced, which is a great part of our heritage. There are any number of aspects to the things that have been done by the order and by the devotees and the monks and the nuns and so forth. And all of that is part of our heritage. But the reason for giving this talk, really, the central reason, is to make us all, myself included, to make us all cognizant of the importance of what has been done, the value of what has been done, the tremendous, incalculable value which has been done. When I was at Ridgely Manor in upstate New York, someone used to tell me over and over that I should sell all of the land, just keep the buildings and the little grass around them, but sell the land. And so my response was always, this is here for the next 1,000, 2,000 years. People will be coming for 1,000 or 2,000 years to Ridgely Manor as a place where Swami Vivekananda lived. They'll come here because Swami Vivekananda is manifest here. He's felt here. His presence is felt here, experienced here. I myself saw it when living there. People's lives were changed who came. Even people who came there who had disliked Swami Vivekananda. Maybe they were the type who were attracted to Ramakrishna, but they didn't care at all for Vivekananda. They came and stayed for a week, and they went away ever after having great devotion for Vivekananda. And so this is a place which will last for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years, as pilgrimage places of other religions continue through the ages. And so we should recognize that this center, the Hollywood Center, the branches of the Hollywood Center, they're here for the long term. They're not here just to keep a center going. We have to do something, so let's build a center and keep everybody busy because everybody has to be busy. No. We're here because of a great wealth that we have inherited. Swami Vivekananda debated for a long time when he was here in America whether to organize an order, an organized tradition, or just to leave it unorganized and just under its own momentum. Finally, he decided that organization always means introducing new problems. It's the nature of organization, that it brings along with organization, it brings problems. But he also realized that without an organization to carry on the tradition would dissipate. There would be nothing to hold it together. And so he organized the order in order to have a vessel to hold and contain the power of Sri Ramakrishna, to make it not to hold it to itself, but to disseminate it to the whole world, so that there would be a way to keep it alive and keep it vibrant for future generations. So that we should be cognizant of, and that we should be respectful of, and be delighted in the wealth that we have inherited. So let me see if there are one or two questions. One question up front. Good, Swami.
Thank you, Mark, for a beautiful talk. I would request you to address, if you could, a little bit the fine line, it seems to me, between, on the one hand, speaking as you did tonight so beautifully about Sri Ramakrishna and who Sri Ramakrishna is and what he is to us, and on the other hand, not pushing a personality. We have a lot of interfaith work also. We cannot go to an interfaith council and say, well, Ramakrishna is the Buddha. Did you know that? So if you could address that.
A very good question, and thanks for that, because it's very important. Swami Vivekananda was always careful about that, as you know. He was very insistent that let people come to Sri Ramakrishna because in him they find a person who lived the principles which we have taught. He always insisted that we must stress the principles, because he said the great weakness in religions of the world has been that they forget the principles and push the personality. You must accept our Savior and forget about the wonderful liberal principles for which they lived. And so he said, always teach the principles. And in time, people will come to Sri Ramakrishna. As he said it, he said, people will ask, is there anyone who has lived these teachings? And then they will find Sri Ramakrishna and find him to be the embodiment of these principles. So he said Sri Ramakrishna should be, for our public work, Sri Ramakrishna should be the embodiment of principles and not primarily a particular person with a particular place of birth and so forth. That's still important, and it will remain important, because what Swami has said is very true. If we go to interreligious work and say, oh yeah, Jesus is nice, Buddha is nice, but the new Jesus, the new Buddha is Ramakrishna, and he's ours. No, not only it won't work, but it would be a travesty to the great liberality of Sri Ramakrishna, who saw truth everywhere. And wanted us to learn to see truth everywhere. So our first step forward should be to see truth in others, to see truth in other traditions, and to present the principles of our tradition. And Ramakrishna we can present also when we want to, when it's appropriate, as an example of these principles. But as far as our public work goes, he's the expression of the principles, and that's what's important. For our personal lives, those of us who have dedicated ourselves to this tradition and for whom Sri Ramakrishna is a principle, a manifestation of principles, a manifestation of Brahman, God himself, and a person who lived in Kamarpukur in Calcutta and led this beautiful life, for us, yes, he's a person. He's a person that we love deeply. One of the strange things is that often when we first come and see the picture of Sri Ramakrishna, he's a little strange looking. This man sitting there half naked, sort of bent over, and his eyes looking like they're slightly crossed, and his mouth half open. I think this man is a little strange looking. But with time, as we begin to meditate on him, we study his life and his teachings, now, to us, we look at the picture and we see an image of infinite beauty. He's the image of infinite beauty, infinite love. That same picture. Before it was weird and so forth. And now it's an image of infinite beauty. Swami Vijnanananda, the direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he said, when we look at meaning the direct disciples who knew Ramakrishna, when we look at the picture of Sri Ramakrishna, you can't imagine what it is that we see. When we look at that picture, we see the living Ramakrishna of infinite extent. So yes, we have to be careful how we present Sri Ramakrishna, and certainly never reduce him to some fanatical image. I've known people who can become, even because it's part of human nature, can become even a Ramakrishna fanatic. Ramakrishna was the opposite of fanaticism, but I've known people in Vedanta groups and so forth, where people come to read about Sri Ramakrishna and discuss, devotee groups and so forth, where one member becomes a fanatic, and if anybody says something about Ramana Maharshi or somebody, oh, we don't talk about that here. It's only Ramakrishna here. It's only Ramakrishna. No. We have to keep an open heart and also be careful of how we present Sri Ramakrishna. Any other question before I close? I was going to say Katyayani, but not. Okay.
Swamiji,
Yes.
I was wondering at what point in the trajectory of our tradition did Ramakrishna mantras start being given in a Diksha context?
Yes, a good question. Sri Ramakrishna, all of the mantras that are given by our gurus in the tradition, they were realized by Sri Ramakrishna himself in high states of consciousness. So you might wonder, how did he realize his own mantra? Well, certainly he did. He even worshipped his own picture. Not because I'm the greatest and so I'm going to worship my own picture, but because he saw God there. And he was so selfless and so free of ego that he had no sense that it's going to look egotistical if there were a picture of me, and even if I went into some high state of consciousness and saw the presence of God in the picture, not because Atmarupananda is God, but because God is everywhere, then first thought would be, I can't offer flower, people will think I'm egotistical. But with Sri Ramakrishna, there was no such idea. So he worshipped his own picture. Holy Mother worshipped her own picture. So Sri Ramakrishna certainly realized the mantra that became his mantra also. And he taught the mantras to Holy Mother. And Holy Mother taught them to Swami Virajananda and the future gurus of the order. There were 8 bijas that Sri Ramakrishna taught to Holy Mother, 8 bija mantras, and he taught her how to make mantras out of the bijas. So like the same bija can be used for several different ishtas, but he taught her and she taught to the succeeding gurus how mantras could be made out of the bijas. Yeah. So they were all realized by Sri Ramakrishna in high states of consciousness. And again, referring to Swami Vijnanananda, the direct disciple, he said when he was asked about realizing the identity of a mantra, he said, what to speak of hearing mantras in deep states of samadhi? We have seen mantras written in golden letters of consciousness. That is, even in their written form, he had seen them in high states of consciousness, written in the golden letters of consciousness. What that means, that's not a photoshopped picture that we can we could design something like that. This cloud of light and then letters in golden letters and everything. That's not at all what he saw. He saw the real thing, made of divine consciousness, not a picture, not an image, but made of divine consciousness. Okay, so that's enough for tonight. Let me give a closing chant. But let me first say it's a delight to see all of you who could come. Most known faces and a couple of new faces, but very good to be here. And again, my thanks to Swami Sarvadevanandaji for the hospitality of my visit. Om Dio Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apa Shanti Oshadaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace is in the heavens, peace is in the sky, peace is on earth, peace is in the waters, peace in the plants and the trees. The gods are peace, peace is the nature of truth, peace alone, peace. May that peace, real peace, be with us all. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all the beings of the universe. I'm sorry, I forgot Swamiji was going to say something. Yes, please, Swamiji.
So now, what a beautiful understanding about our heritage. Here we should be proud of our heritage and also be very careful to hold on this banner of heritage into our life. It's a great responsibility to carry on this spirit. So it's a wonderful assimilation of this Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Vivekananda, our saints, and the traditions serve and develop that spirit of keeping that high ideology in us. So will be happy. Thanks, Swami, for this. He's our own, so nothing to thank. But this is custom. And also this idea of Ramakrishna's philosophy, Ramakrishna's what attitude is like around this, that universality. What a beautiful background we carry in our tradition. So today is this, and then Swami will be here. Tomorrow going to Santa Barbara in the evening. He will be speaking on the universe. It's all a story. The universe, it is all a story. That will be at 5 p.m. in the Santa Barbara temple tomorrow. And then again on 30th Friday, you all please come. The Swami will be here speaking in the evening 7:30, the work before us. And then he goes to San Diego on the 31st and speaks there in the 11 o'clock lecture time. And then 1st of June, that is Sunday, first Sunday, he will be speaking in Trabuco Monastery. So Sunday lecture, what Vedanta means to be now. And then he will be leaving on the June 2nd in the morning.
Ah, yes, for France.
So we are very happy that the Swami is there in France, and a good number of coming, new enthusiasm and interfaith meetings and interfaith congregations are growing. Recently you did a big...
oh yes, we had a big all-European Vedanta summit. Yes.
All European Vedanta summit, and our Swami.
Suhitanaji, he came, yes.
How many participants of different religions?
There were about 300 people who came.
It's a huge thing, so we are very proud of that. Thank you, Swami.
Thank you, Maharaji. Yes, we do. We do it on Ekadashi. Sure. Please come. Along with Hanuman.
And is the Santa Barbara talk on the evening, is that broadcast on YouTube also?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. Stream it.
And Trabuco is later, live stream later.
In Trabuco they will be streaming next few days.
Next few days.
So thank you.